Welcome back, everyone, to the Wild and Wild podcast. Today, I have a really special guest, Frances Bromley, who we actually met, over a year ago now. And she came to one of my networking events. And I always remember spotting her because she was wearing a football shirt. And I thought, oh, how interesting. I want to know this woman's story. And when she stood up, she shared the most heartfelt experience of losing her son to suicide, aged 19, the beautiful Beck. And today, I feel it's really important that we speak about the journey of suicide and how it's one of the biggest killers in men and also women in the UK. 14 men die by suicide every day in the UK. And I feel like it's a conversation really worth having today. So I just want to do a trigger warning first that we are going to discuss mental health and suicide and grief. But also we're going to spin this into a positivity warning, which Frances has taught me from her incredible work where she teaches active listening, that there's a positivity warning is going to give you post-traumatic growth, looking at, listening to, laughing with, and loving the silver threads in life. So welcome, Frances.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. It's I've not done anything like this before, and it's really hard when the reason I'm here is because my son died.
Yeah.
And as we spoke before, and we've spoken in the past, I'll cry and I'll feel the tears welling up, and I've kind of learnt that's how my body processes this.
Of course.
And but it's very weird being in this situation, and when the reason I'm here is because my son's not.
And it's the unimaginable. We all can't ever imagine that ever happening in our lives.
And we shouldn't, because why would you wander around in life thinking that?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be healthy.
From what I know from your beautiful community, like where you live, and you have the most amazing family and family life, and your incredible mother and your partner and father. And can you take us back, if you don't mind sharing, to were there signs? Did you notice? Could you share with us what happened?
It's interesting. It's like I could and I would be able to, but actually, I think by sharing what happened with Beck, it then makes people feel more relaxed that it will never happen to them. Okay?
But then it's important.
Really, for me, my message is Beck had everything to look forward to in the future. We run a family business. He was involved in it. He was a first-class maths student. He played guitar in the band. He was an amazing musician. He could skateboard. He had everything going for him, yet he couldn't find purpose in living in that moment. Just in 19, that moment.
19 years
19,
old.
Yeah.
And that's why I said that at the start, is because I wanted to draw on the life Beck had.
Yeah.
He was incredible. I mean, I got the pleasure to come to the football match that you did in his honour, which you do yearly.
Yeah.
And I was honestly so overwhelmed by his friendships, the uni students that came. Where did he go to uni in?
Manchester.
In Manchester. And then his friends from school. And wow, like the people behind him, the community in Leek, like everyone was so supportive. And that's all the people that I've ever spoke to that know Beck. And even though I never got the chance to meet him, he was a force of life and
he was
vision.
always there he had an exciting life.
Yeah.
And he was a friend to lots of people.
And that's
where the shock came from.
I think that's what shocks
disbelief.
Me so much, is such a powerful, like, visionary boy, and it shows us that this can happen to any of us at any point in our life.
Yeah.
And interestingly, I've had a few guests on the podcast that have said, I've been there.
Yeah.
I've just suddenly turned to suicidal thoughts, depression.
Yeah.
My mental health's gone AWOL and I don't know what to do. So what was so powerful is when you came to that event, I was so happy you stood up and spoke about it, because it must be, I can't even imagine as a mother being able to stand up and share that experience. But you've turned such pain into a positive. I have to say, Frances, like, you are doing amazing things. Like, Frances has created a book about active listening. So can you touch on that? Like, what is active listening?
So basically, the journey through grief for me, which I find very difficult talking about because it's so painful. Yeah. It's like I can sit here today and I'm fine. In this moment, I'm fine. I now know what it feels like to want to die, and the things that I've experienced through grief. Someone the other day said to me, a friend said to me, I was expressing how something had happened and I was really upset. And he said, "Oh, I thought you were over it now."
Oh, wow.
But
You're never going to be over
no, but this
grief.
is a really good friend. So it didn't shock me, but I think people's perception, different people have different ways of dealing with grief.
It's our society, though. I don't think it helps that we don't talk about death. And also, like, when I lost my mum, it was like, oh, they expect you maybe to grieve for a year and then move on. It's like, actually, it's nearly 4 years.
And if they see you smiling, then you're okay now.
Yeah, it's like, oh, wow.
And that's really good, because you need positive influences around you. And I smile to feel better. Yeah. So it's not a mask to disguise how sad I feel. It actually lifts me.
Yeah, it helps.
And if I smile, someone smiles back, and then that lifts me. And it's a self-propagating positive emotion, which I need when I then go back and feel really sad, because I remember all the smiles and the gifts of joy and the those moments that carry me through and lift me out of the deep bit. So with the active listening, the whole reason that came about was because I, in my really dark, guilt-driven, blame, all the emotions I went through trying to claw my way and back, in a sense.
Back to society. I bet you felt like do you feel like you're completely lost in...
Yeah, I mean, walking out the door for the first time.
Oh gosh, I can't imagine, Frances. Like, you can't... I don't think anyone can put themselves in your shoes unless you've been through it. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry.
But you're
losing a son, a child.
Your role as a mother is to protect your children. Yeah. And therefore you've failed at the most fundamental step in giving your child a reason to live.
But you will feel that. You will feel that is that guilt and that failure, but you haven't failed because you've done everything you can to be there.
But this is the intriguing bit, that I think that very narrative that says that it's no one's fault. And ultimately suicide is the person's fault.
Well, I don't think that,
no. I'm not saying that you do, but lots of people remove the guilt.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I would say, though, on that, I didn't mean it like that. I meant it's the mental health illness. Yeah. It's the depression. Yeah. Because you don't know. I could be going along, living my life. Yeah. I'm quite happy now. Yeah. I could suddenly be struck with depression. And it's not anyone's fault, I'm saying. Because it's a chemical imbalance in the brain.
But no, you see, this is the whole thing. You see, so...
Okay, tell me more.
So, I totally agree with you. Yeah. Okay? And I am not a psychiatrist. I'm not I don't understand all these different neurological illnesses and all those things that affect humanity and people. What I do know is that when I was in the depths of despair, personally, over my own grief of losing my son, that when I wanted to die, it was to protect everyone else. Okay. I can only speak from my experience. Yeah, okay. But I also know that the people that helped me in that moment were my community, that we had discussed suicide and we had discussed the fact that we would never do it because of the effect that our child and our brother and that Beck had. So we made a promise. Okay. And we also established routes to go down if we ever felt that way.
That's really interesting that you said we make a promise, because how amazing would it be if we all came together as a town and made that promise? And that's kind of what you've created in this book.
What I'm saying a safety plan is, and it's a community safety plan. It's not a safety plan for you. It's a safety plan for your community.
Right.
Because the impact, I have also been told that it was very selfish of my son to kill himself. And I understand that perspective.
Everyone has these different views, don't they?
If I was to kill myself, my family would suffer.
But they don't
Now,
think about it like that.
I understand that in a rational place. If I'm feeling so low that I can't find purpose in life, or that my living will harm my children, then in that moment, that's how I feel.
It overrides.
It overrides the rationality.
No one knows when you get to that point of low feeling.
Unless you've felt it.
You generally feel you'll benefit everyone not being here.
Yes.
That's the point, because that must have been where he got to as well, maybe.
I don't know.
You don't know.
And that's my other point. So I don't know why he ended his life, because I can't ask him and I can't listen to his answer.
That must have been the hardest thing, because you just want to speak to him and ask why.
Yeah. And it's not that I want to understand, it's that I believe that someone could have helped him to, and I choose to believe this.
Yeah. No, I believe it after I've heard you speak, that if he had a plan and safety plan, I think the problem is in our society, we don't have these structures in place to support all sorts of things, from grief to postpartum depression, motherhood, anything. We're just left to it. And life and teenage periods are the hardest, most crucial points in anyone's life.
Yeah.
And in the last generation, we've been overwhelmed with consumption of, so much what we see online. And there's so much more pressures, but we don't talk about mental health, especially men.
Yeah.
And only recently has it started to surface, these men's circles and support.
Yeah.
And I do think that the society
But it's interesting you say only recently they've surfaced. What I find fascinating is they've been there all the time, but you only know they're there if you're in need or if someone introduces you to them.
Yeah.
So you find out about them, like I found about all these services after Becca died.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I know what you mean.
And what's more, I believed in them after Becca died. I knew that some were there, but I didn't understand their relevance to me.
Okay.
Because why would Beck end his life with a supportive family and all this future and all these skill sets? He would have no reason to leave. So therefore, why should I talk to him about suicide? Because I'm giving him, with the security of a family and all his friends.
Yeah, you feel he's so happy.
He's not at risk.
Yeah, it's hard.
Well, and that only happens to other people.
I think we always think it won't happen to us.
Yeah.
Car accident.
Which is
this.
healthy. But you say car accidents, you put a seatbelt on.
Yeah, you do.
You do your MOTs.
Yeah.
It's like with swimming, you teach your children how to swim. So why don't you teach them to my mantra, pause, find an active listener.
Let's go through it then. Let's unpick it. I say this all the time with, say, as a yoga teacher, I'm like, kids need mindfulness exercises, breath work. This should be compulsory in schools to, maybe this might help people's mental health later. But instead, we put a lot of pressure on exams and all these things. And I feel like it is missing. They don't get exposed to this. And like you said with the seatbelt, we have to have a safety pack for if we had a panic attack or if we're somewhere and we just feel overwhelmed. Like we all will.
Like we have a first aid kit at home that has plasters in it, that has a bandage. We're taught how to, we're taught to dial 999, all these different things. We know a family who's campaiigning for a 3-digit mental health help number that becomes not 999.
That's a good idea.
It's, there are these organisations, it's called the Caldy Foundation, and that's their campaign, because
just to talk to someone,
it's to know what to do if you have a mental health crisis. If your child, you're worried about their mental health, we're being taught to go to the GP, but the GP doesn't necessarily have the resources to direct you. And then where do you go? But what about in a crisis? In an immediate crisis? There are all these. That's what those people are campaigning for. I'm on a different angle based on my experience.
Well, what I thought was so powerful is when you stood up and shared, and I'm so glad you've come to quite a lot of our events and done this. But wow, the impact you've had in that room when you do share, every single person, I'd say, knew someone that had committed suicide or of someone.
Oh, I need to correct you, by the way. Just highlight.
Oh, yes.
No, just so you know, when you say commit suicide, that is a term that it's okay. For me, it doesn't bother me.
But sometimes it can offend.
No, it's for some people because it's based on a history of suicide being illegal and you're committing a crime.
That's so true. Now I listen to it, it sounds like
and it's a big education.
So what should we say instead? Like
die by suicide?
Yeah, that's so true. I don't know why.
Ended your own life.
It's just a normal thing. You kind of get.
It's part of normal conversation to say commit. But
that's awful when you think about it. It shouldn't be ever commit.
No.
Because it's not their choice as well. Oh my
But
gosh.
I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. I'm glad.
It's good that you said it.
It's good to have these conversations because I'd never know that. I would never know that.
No.
So and when this happens, you realise so many other people know people this happened to, and it's like, and it really got emotional in them rooms. But it's so important we speak about it in community groups.
Yeah.
So how do we get this? Like, can you go through the active listening? Like, what is the safety plan?
Yeah. So I'll have to put my glasses on now. I wish I wasn't getting.
And let me read this bit because it's beautiful. So I'm writing this, having lost my son to suicide and knowing myself the desperate, life-crushing feeling of not understanding the purpose of life and the feeling that my friends and family would be better off without me. So I'm sharing what I have learned through sleepless nights of trying desperately to work out who and why my son took his own life in the hope and strong belief that it will help our community be stronger. And that statistics say that 1 in 5 of us have thoughts of suicide at some point in our lives. So it is affecting all of us. We all need to listen and have these conversations.
And that's actually changed since I wrote the book. I wrote this book a year after Beck died. And it's now 1 in 4.
Oh gosh!
But this isn't however, I have a bit of a problem with statistics.
Yeah, they change so much as well.
It's the changing nature of them. It's the validity of them. It's people questioning them. I mean, this is from an NHS digital survey, so I've tried to use an authoritative source. However, 1 in 4. So that's 25%. Now, 75% have never experienced those thoughts. So the majority of people haven't, which is really good.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really good news. But because it's so common, we should
all have this plan, though.
Yes. And we should all be aware of what to do if you ever find yourself in that position, or if you know of someone who's in that position.
Well, look at cancer. Like, we all know what to do if we have some symptoms.
And there was a time when the C word you couldn't say.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I can use the C.
But now we're like, we'll go for a blood test or we'll get an ultrasound or whatever. But if you have that feeling that you have those low thoughts, there should be somewhere you should go. So if we all listening can create now together a safety plan, this could help you or someone in your community stop.
Like, but perhaps there are 2 parts to this. There's one is the mantra that you learn. And the safety plan is another thing that we can go through. So the mantra,
right, let's do the mantra.
The mantra is pause. It's not stop. It's pause. Follow your safety plan. Find an active listener and share your thoughts with them. Okay. Now, they don't follow in immediate time sequenced order in terms of the first second you pause,
you don't have
the second you follow your safety plan, and then you have to talk to someone. So, finding an active listener does not mean sitting talking to you. An active listener might be for you a book.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
It might be a musician. It might be, but the point is, it's someone who has your experience, who understands your experience and can guide you to a safe place based on that understanding.
So could it be like meditation or
could be
like a podcast that's positive or something?
You generally need, it depends on where your thoughts are taking you.
It's amazing.
But it's going to be right for you and you only. I cannot tell you what will work for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the whole point.
But it's interesting you said about like music or different things like that, because actually there's been so much science that shows it really changes us on our nervous system to that parasympathetic state. When we're listening to something that we familiarise with a positive, it can help us. So in those moments.
And I suppose that's where it's a balance between the safety plan and the active listening. They're two a safety plan would involve the music as well as an
Okay.
active listener. So it's the active listening is exploring where these thoughts come from.
Yeah.
So after you've used your safety plan, which involves your books, musicians, your music,
Okay.
meditation, you then, I would suggest, need to explore where the emotions are coming from if you can't resolve them with your safety plan.
Okay.
It's all kind of entwined,
So-
but it's, yeah.
So this will help you build resilience then as well. Like if you have this in place. I'm
Yes.
guessing, yeah.
And then there are many versions of a safety plan.
Okay.
But I've
Well,
prepared
could you talk us through? So
one.
if I was doing one for the first time, can you
Yes.
talk me through it?
So I've got a preamble on the back of a safety plan that's a 1-page PDF or a double-page
And this is
PDF.
all on the website, isn't it?
Yes.
So if you just tell everyone that
BeckBromley.com.
BeckBromley.com, you can go over it and look at the safety plan and
Yeah.
build your own. Yeah.
And that's B.E.C.K. Bromley, BROMLEY.com. But the questions that you would answer in your safety plan, if I was sitting here with you, okay, for a start, you want to be doing this community safety plan. I'm not talking about a safety plan that you run through when you are in a very, you're in a vulnerable place yourself. Okay, I'm saying this is something that you do and you prepare and you keep it in reserve. So what will I do to calm myself in the moment? So, and these are questions that
Are you
are
asking me now?
Yeah. Well, so
I'm
these,
like, so breathe. or-
yeah. So these are, this is for if you ever,
Oh yeah, here. Yeah, I see.
if you're ever considering suicide, self-harm, or harm to others.
Okay. So
Those
what-
are the moments in which you enact your safety plan.
And this is where we would. So is this the actual sheet we'd have in our
that can be in your first aid kit.
in the first aid kit? So
Yeah.
that's what I liked when you came to our event. You
Yeah.
said you could just fold this, put it in your first aid kit, and go through it together. So
Yeah,
what
so-
can I do now to make myself calm? So I could take some deep breaths, or I could go out in nature, or do
Yeah.
something.
And you write those down.
Okay.
And the important thing is to document them.
Oh right. Okay.
Now, and physically write them down.
So
Now,
even then to put back into my first
Yeah.
aid box. Yeah.
yeah. So, but that would be your personal
Yeah,
first.
okay.
That this would live in the first aid box, but your personal
one.
safety plan doesn't have to be shared with anyone else because you would put things in it that are personal to you.
Yeah.
And the way you might store the answers might be summarized by a picture. So you'd write down your answers, but then maybe you'd summarize those answers in an illustration that you keep on your phone.
Yeah, I like that.
So, like, for example, what will I do to calm myself in the moment? I know you, with all your experience, you'll have a raft of these. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like
a lot of people don't.
a lot of people don't. And so you can explore those together. And if you're talking with someone, they will already have ways that they calm themselves. They'll already know that they turn some music on. But then that's another question. So it's like you talk about putting some if you're into, well, depending on what music you're into, it doesn't matter. Some people might be piano, some people might be
Jazz or whatever.
jazz,
Yeah, different things.
But you can develop a music set or track listing
Oh, that'd be
that
nice,
gets
yeah.
you into a safe space.
Well, funny, I did this for my birth, so I always have
Yeah?
like a positive birth
There you
playlist.
go.
So why not have one if you were feeling down, like
Yeah.
just a positivity playlist?
Exactly, and I have physically done that when I have felt because I do it less now. With Beck and with grief, there are times when it's really, really, really bad, and I have literally put on a soundtrack that I've already saved, and within, I would say, seconds, it's lifted me enough of a step. Because you're only talking about putting one foot on the rung of a ladder to help you get out of that dark space. You're not talking about finding joy miraculously and it's all around you. You're talking about lifting you from that moment
one
where you
step,
want to
like,
end
yeah.
your life.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, you don't have to just suddenly be joyous. You just
No.
have to be one.
No,
Actually, there's
you
like,
don't have to stop being depressed.
Yeah.
You don't have to stop being
There's a
what
ladder,
anyone
isn't
else
there?
sees as miserable. You can go around with feeling really, really bad, but you're one step above suicide.
and there's
no
like
one
all
talks about
different
that.
like levels of like on this scale. So you could go from to like envy or like there's all these different things, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you're still in like a little bit not into the positive zone yet, but still start to move up that
Even if
ladder.
it makes you feel angry.
Anger, yeah,
if
anger's
it's,
better than
Yeah.
that. Like it's feel,
Exactly.
just start to get your frustration out in
Yeah,
another way, like, oh, or
Yeah.
like channeling it in a different way.
Yeah.
Okay, so we all need to like write this down then.
So what will I tell myself as an alternative to choosing to end my life?
Okay, so that's a big question. So what would you have put for that? Like, if you don't mind me asking.
Well, to me, all of these things are encompassed with a conversation that we had as a family.
Yeah. Okay.
That to me
A promise
was our safety plan.
of like, we have to be here together.
So these are examples. Do you know what I mean? So it's not that you have to have specific answers. It could be a photograph of everyone close to you.
Yeah, that's a good one then. So yeah, I think that's a really important one though. Like, make a promise that you're going to be here for your family and support one another and get through this together. And
because not everyone has family.
Yeah, that's true as well. But
so you've got to be careful, and sometimes the family could be a trigger for why you want to end your life, and maybe you've fallen out with your family.
Or community. I think when I say family, I think it's a community. So there will always be someone in your community that cares about you.
Yes.
Even if it's someone at the local shop that you see every day, or like, there's always people that care about you. And what people don't realize is the effect that has on every single person in that community. Like, I'm sure when Beck passed, like, all those people who have ever met him. Yeah. Even me, I've never met him, but I feel, honestly, I have to say, Frances, like, since I met you, like, I think about Beck all the time and his beautiful face. And I'm sorry, but when I go and run marathons and I go out and do these high roxes and events, and I always like list the names of my kids and my mum who's passed. But Beck always comes to my mind, and it's like, but I've never met him. Yeah. So I don't know why that is, but he's such a positive light, and he's really had an effect on my life. Like, I have to say, he's inspired me to do better for the community because I feel like society has let him down in a way because there's not enough people to talk to. So I didn't expect to cry, but I know you just say let it go, let it out, but like I did expect to cry, actually. I don't know what I'm saying. Of course I expected to cry when we're talking about suicide. Like, he's like a light that is still shining, and that's important because seeing that football match and all the people you brought together and everyone just wants to help one another in a community. And that's what we have to remember is we're all part of one,
It's what I've chosen the way I survive. And the way I am sometimes able to find a way to survive is, for example, if I'm walking down the street and the wind's blowing in my face, to me personally, and this won't work for everyone, but for me personally, that is Beck's presence.
I feel it all the time with my mum.
And when I wear a smile, I'm wearing his smile quite often. You have to
take that forward.
And that's what I've chosen to do. And I strongly believe that it's a choice. That's a choice I have. And I choose to go down that route.
Well, we've all know someone we've lost. And if you haven't yet, we have to know that death is the inevitable. Yeah. It will happen to everyone. And it's tragic and it's awful. But I never expect my mum to die so quickly. No. Like at 63, just suddenly got stage 4 cancer.
Horrific.
It was so horrific. But then I choose to be more Dawn, I always say. And I'm sure you be more Beck.
Yeah.
And it's just, it helps me because I know, funnily enough, actually, when she did pass, I don't know if you ever had this, like, you have this I need to now do what I love more because if I don't, I'm letting that legacy down in a way because I love inspiring women.
She's given you courage. She's given you that. The fire in your belly. Sometimes you'll cry, and sometimes you'll miss her.
Oh, I do immeasurably. Like the other day, I was so moody. Actually, I was in just a terrible mood with people, and I just had to get out in nature and cry. And I was running, and I was just like, I just miss you so much. And I sometimes just talk to her on my runs. I'm just like, miss that energy. But then I realized that she actually made me change my life. Yeah. When she passed, I closed down my cafe. Transformed my business. I spent more time with my kids. Yeah. I got more present and so thank you, Mum, for doing that for me. But obviously this is completely different because Beck died way too young.
But no,
And
it's
but
not. No, that's what. It's not
but
completely different.
it's still
Yeah.
that he's with you though, isn't
Your
he?
mum died way too young.
She did as well.
It's
But
one of the things that I find fascinating. I think is I what Beck's death has taught me is that I cannot judge someone else's pain.
yeah.
Okay, so if someone breaks a fingernail, okay, that could be enough for them to end their lives.
Yeah.
I don't know why Beck died. Okay, I can't tell
You
you.
never know what spirals you out. Yeah.
So someone's, for me, something that would seem insignificant. Now, perhaps someone had their nails done to represent someone they'd lost.
Yeah.
And that was, perhaps they'd saved for the last year to go and have their nails.
We never know what people are going through.
And so therefore, you can't judge someone else's emotions, but you can give them space to listen and check in on them.
Yeah.
We stopped because we got distracted because the light went off.
Yeah,
so there's always worth. Yeah, we were
that was
saying
interesting. The lights just went, which was interesting on air. But we were saying about how you never know what people are going through, and I think it's so important to touch on this because literally I have hundreds of women that come to my events, and you might think someone's being a bit moody that day or just being a bit off, but they're always going through something.
And there are really simple ways to check in. I was talking to someone and we were having a chat, and she was saying how she, I don't think I'm betraying any confidences here. She was saying how she was speaking to someone and just ask, how are you doing? And fine. Yeah. Very general conversation. And then she said, but how are you really doing?
I think it's good to say that
this
after.
This person then said to her, no one has ever asked me that.
Wow.
And then they opened up.
I might do that,
that revealed a myriad of issues, which he said weren't an issue then. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, however, that conversation then enabled a conversation about safety plans. Well, and it said, because you're not in that place now, let's talk about this and what you're going to do if you ever go there again. And it facilitated her being empowered with a tool.
I honestly think
that moment,
even just sharing what's happened and saying, have you ever thought about this?
Yeah,
that it could happen in your life.
Yeah,
is really powerful because it makes you, even with children. Like I think we have worry about sharing with children. I brought my kids to Beck's, memorial. Do you call it kind of game or
a community
game?
That he's still at,
and it was so beautiful. Like it was an energy that it didn't feel low. It felt really uplifting, and I think it was nice for my kids to experience that we can celebrate, their life and all the energy they've given us now.
Well, I still describe myself as having 3 children.
Yeah, well,
and Beck isn't. Yes, he died age 19, but he's now 22.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the way I view it.
And my kids, I lost a baby to miscarriage, and they still say they have another brother. Yeah. Yes. And it was really made people feel uncomfortable. And when they were like, "Oh, we lost our little brother," but I was like, "Wow, it's interesting because kids just openly share that, but we should be more like open."
And that's another thing that I'm very aware of. Part of my own personal way of choosing to grieve was to say I was very lucky to have 19 years with Beck. Luckier than you. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you can flip it both ways. You can say with a miscarriage, all those dreams,
exactly.
When you have a miscarriage, there's a massive impact, but no one considers that. No one will go to you, my goodness, how's that impacted your life?
Massively.
Going forward.
Honestly, like I've always talked about, like I hold women's circles.
Yeah.
But when I had a miscarriage, I never realised how much it would impact me.
Yeah.
Like I still get so emotional about Bodhi. Like
totally.
And I've known so many friends that have had stillbirths that it's like you've spent all that time with the wonder and the hopes and dreams of the future of this child, and you've told the kids about them or the family, and then to go from that flip of going back into the community, everyone's still congratulating me like I was expecting a baby and having to tell them.
Yeah.
Like that was a really learning curve that you never know.
No.
Someone's just been through miscarriage, loss, they're going through the cancer journey
And does
or
anyone
whatever.
say to you, how will you answer the question, how many children do you have?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because I read voraciously, I prepared myself with that question, but I spoke about it with my husband, and he hadn't considered what he would say.
Well, you should say, like, I feel
Well,
like
no,
it's
exactly,
because, and also it makes people like it opened, because when I started saying, actually, we had a little boy, you know, we lost him, you know, but it's like it opens people up to the conversation of loss and grief, and actually people go, oh, this happened, and you won't believe how many people have lost people. Like,
and I have since, as I journey through grief, the fire in my belly is different. Okay, so previously I would have shouted at every second. Now I'm able to judge when I choose to and when I don't choose to. And I'm not saying that's a natural part of the grieving process as well. There are times where you need, when I needed to be heard. I'm now more able to listen. And
you needed that support. It kind of changes, doesn't it, as it evolves.
And that's something else that I learned through grieving and through research and why I propose, you know, the skill of active listening, is that you cannot always be a good listener, depending on what you are experiencing in life yourself in that moment.
Yeah, I don't think I was a good listener after I lost my mom. I threw myself, I think it was a coping mechanism, but I threw myself back into work.
Yeah.
And people were like, April, like, I think I led a yoga class a week after I lost my mom.
Yeah.
I did it in her honor. And it was actually beautiful because 30 people brought flowers. It was like this shrine of flowers in the middle, and we all did yoga to
It's probably
music.
when I first, when I soon after I met you.
Yeah, it was. And we did it to the Lion King and all her favourite music and Fleetwood Mac. And it was beautiful. But then actually I probably did do too much too soon. But then you don't know how you're going to cope with grief.
And actually that is, you can call it burnout, you can call it whatever, but actually it's a process that you needed to follow, and you needed to get to that point where you were so exhausted that you collapsed, that you then recovered. Now, during that time, however,
I wasn't listening very well. No.
And you won't have been the best parent to your children, all those different, you were, because you were their parent. But
it was hard.
But that's when they need the community to step in. And they come in and they rally round and they notice things that you, then that's what communities do.
And what we need is more community. Because that's why I set up Wild and Wild, because it's so sad to me that people don't, like, back in the old kind of tribal ways, it'd be like the elders come together and we gift each other meals. There is something like we've started with my friends when they have children, like the meal train where you send and drop. We have a schedule and things. But we need to start doing that with grief.
And I
loss.
had that. I had the gift because we live in a really wonderful community, and I had meals delivered, and I had all those supportive mechanisms and friends and people checking in. But it was
Well, talk us through that, because I want to know. I think people don't talk about enough how it impacts the mother, the sister, the brother, all the friends. Like, what were you in? I mean, I can't even imagine. Like, were you in shock? Could you not go outside?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't.
I didn't know what a panic attack was until Beck died.
Oh my gosh. Because there must be things you have to do, I guess.
I'm quite a confident person.
Yeah.
I'm quite outgoing. I'm gregarious, all those different things. I couldn't, to walk out of my front door with the amount of guilt I felt over, our son's death. I literally putting a hand on the front door. I couldn't leave my house. And then walking along the street, you feel that everyone is looking through you into your soul and is accusing you of killing your son.
And that's your way of processing it. But do you know now that they're not doing that? Like, but you felt that so true to be true.
I can't even, the reality of that belief.
Because it hurts my heart to hear that, because I just want to say that it's not your fault, but then I know you don't want me to say that.
It's very hard though, because suicide brings incredibly intense emotions
Of course.
from the community as well. So
They want to problem solve.
there was
in a
one,
way.
but there was one occasion where my husband was accused of killing his son.
What? Really?
People do funny things in grief.
Oh my gosh. Honestly.
So because it's wrapped up in such deep emotion because so many people have been affected by suicide, so many people have not processed that pain, so they hold it so deep inside that they never discuss it. So then
So they push it towards someone else, do you think?
potentially,
Or they want someone to blame.
yes.
Yeah.
So in that moment, if I've had someone say to me that they literally hate Beck because Beck has destroyed their son's life.
Oh, to you?
To me, I've had someone say
Really?
that Beck is basically selfish.
I just can't. How did you handle that situation when they said that? Did you just let it pass? Or
Don't ask me how or why, but I accepted that was
their way of processing
what they were feeling, and they were being honest enough with me to say that's how they felt.
But that's
And we had
feels selfish in that
then
way
you have
to
a
say.
conversation.
But then I suppose it's good for people to be honest.
Yeah.
But then and not because I found when I lost my mum,
Yeah.
everyone just tiptoed around me like they didn't want to speak about
But I
it.
also have that.
Yeah, that's
so
hard.
you also have the thing where you see someone coming towards you and you see them
They avoid
cross
you.
the
Yeah,
road.
yeah, I had that.
But then I totally accept that, because if you're in a place where you can't face that pain, because I was in pain.
Yeah, yeah.
I
You don't
must
know
have
what to
had.
say.
I must have had a if you believe in auras, I must have had the most heavy, like
Dark,
sphere
feel
around
like,
me that some people could not.
I understand.
Could not hold.
Yeah, I understand.
You know,
it's
and
it's heaviness, and it's like
Yeah.
But then people who have not spoke about death or grief can't handle that truth.
And then you realise, but then what's amazing is that you connect with a different generation. So usually the people who've experienced that intense grief are people who've lived with a partner for 40, 50 years.
Oh, interesting.
And then they're on their own.
So did you find the older community came to you more?
I found I was able to connect more with the impact of my loss.
Yeah, I get that.
With those people. And I'd never understood grief until I experienced, first it was compound. First I lost my father to Alzheimer's in the middle of COVID in horrific traumatic circumstances.
So that has happened before.
Yeah.
So you've been through, and that probably had an effect on your whole family. I mean,
completely,
everything.
completely. I think that's part of the impact on Beck.
I mean, I feel that too, because I have to say, when my mum died, it was like, and my granddad died, and when my grandma died, that was a year before my mum.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't handle anything else. And then my mum, and it's like these impacts of grief can get you so low.
And think about the impact on your mother of her father dying.
Yeah.
Or husband, or that.
So my mum was had just had. Well, I was 3, I think, when her dad died.
Yeah.
And she just set up a business with him, like a massive business, and she had 2 young children, and the impact of all of that. And it's like, it was like there's an ongoing cycle there. But then if you don't realise how that's going to have effect on all the kids in the family, the rest of the family.
And imagine if that happens when your children are at a vulnerable age.
This is it.
Where they are themselves going through emotional turmoil. If they lose the person that they're potentially most connected to, their mother, at that very vulnerable time.
Of course, you can understand.
Then that's
like, because Beck had lost his granddad, and they were really close.
Yeah.
And that when you're a teenager, like
this bracelet I wear was my father's that he gave to Beck.
Well, that's the thing, is
So
you don't understand how the impact, the brain's still developing, and it still can't concept that detachment. I mean, my little boy, for example, could not accept that my mum had passed. He thought she had COVID and not cancer. And he had delayed grief for 2 years. He would not believe that she'd gone.
Yeah.
And you don't know if that could have been things like, it could have been that. He could not accept, you don't understand what young minds are going through.
Yeah.
And I think we all need to be more sensitive. Like even at that age, I remember the school pushing Jessie, go back in and do this.
And this is actually where the whole learning curve of active listening comes in. And this is also linked with blame and guilt. So this is my perception of what happened. So you have to caveat what I'm about to say.
It's not factual, but it's like.
But my son asked me what happens when you die. Okay. Now,
this is interesting. Yeah.
So me in grief, I assume he's asking about my father.
Of course, yeah.
So I explain what I believe happens when you die.
And do you mind sharing that?
No. For me personally, I believe energy isn't lost. I believe you become, the energy changes into something else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't believe you ever
just disappear or
Exactly. And I also believe that what is who you are and who you've met carries on. So if I've met you, you are part of me now. Yeah. So you can never die because you've influenced me and what I think, and therefore you're alive in me. So
it makes sense.
All those kind of values. Now, what if I was to turn that around and say to my son, why are you asking me?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Now, maybe he was asking, maybe because he wanted to die.
Was that quite soon to when it happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. And I'm not saying it was.
No, of course.
And I'm not saying that the answer I gave didn't influence his decision or anything like that.
Yeah.
However, that's my point about active listening. You
can turn the tables.
You assume you know what someone wants to hear.
But you don't.
So you solve the question.
Oh, I see what you mean. Sorry. I meant then.
You answer the question that you think you're being asked.
Yes, I see what you
mean. Without
mean.
verifying what it is you're being asked.
But there's a layer to go deeper, and you have that space to really support them.
Yeah.
And that it's interesting you said that, because my son kept asking me, where do we go? And I realized I wasn't speaking my truth. I was saying, we go to this beautiful place, and he's like, oh, in heaven, like they say at school, because it's a Church of England school. Like beautiful place, But then I thought after, hold on, am I sharing with him that this is other beautiful place to go to? Because I don't want. I've been thinking about it recently. I don't want him to think that there's a nicer place to go.
Yeah.
But
that
because
again,
he's a kid.
But that again is slanted by the fact of your awareness of suicide prevention. So there are different ways that you communicate to at different age groups.
But we still need to be aware of it in young children, because he's starting to have depressive thoughts. And I do think with young children, we need to be open to, but why are you asking those questions?
Yes.
Is it, because we've got to be open to the fact that people are always wondering what it could be like to be not here.
Exactly. And I think it's, then people will also raise the point, or someone has raised the point with me, isn't it someone's choice to end their life? Isn't that their decision to make?
But
and the
what do you feel about that?
But this was an interesting debate that we had. This is what I was walking through. Is a very good family friend who is very much older, his 80s. He was being very supportive. Yeah. So he was giving me an alternative view. And I said, I totally understand that, totally agree, or I agree with your sentiment. What would you say if my child had been 13? Okay. And then his response was, but that's different because he wasn't old. He wouldn't have been old enough yet.
But he wasn't old
No.
enough.
But then I went on to say, so what if the child had been 16?
Yeah, where does the line cross? Yeah.
And then I went, so
interesting.
But at 19,
he's not a child anymore.
He's not a child anymore.
But they
so
are,
at 19, he's allowed to make that decision.
That's so difficult. Yeah.
And who is that? What is there to say that someone who is 50 is? It carries on in every. And if you saw someone drowning, would you say, but they're 50, so they've chosen to drown.
True.
I won't step in to help.
Sometimes they choose the older one to help.
Yeah.
So it's so difficult because you never know.
But I think the reason that people don't step in to help and that they justify not helping and that they say that it's their choice is because no one has been given a tool with which to support someone in that moment. Yeah. So we all see the value of life and we naturally we believe in the concept of living. You could argue that it's a massive debate. You know, who am I to say that you should live? Do you know what I mean?
Because
who am I to decide that is what you should do?
That question is acting like we are all in the same mental state all the time. Because if I've just lost my mum, my baby's poorly, and I'm had no sleep, and I'm thinking I can't cope. And
so I just leave you to be and go. Yeah, you know what?
It's her choice.
Exactly.
But I'm actually at rock bottom, and I don't think there's a way out, because sometimes you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like you literally are so. I remember. And
someone needs to be. Someone needs to.
Like postpartum mums.
Yes,
honestly,
exactly.
Like there were times where I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like the screaming baby up all night. And you literally feel like this is the end. I just can't get through this. But somehow you do. But a 19-year-old boy, 16-year-old boy, 30-year-old man, whatever, we were all at different stages. We are on different levels of the spectrum as well. I like to talk about neurodiversity, because I feel like my mind as an ADHD woman works completely different. I can go very erratic all of a sudden, like, and then very mellow. And like I literally go burn myself out sometimes, where I have to just be still for hours. And I'm so tired. So, you know, if something was bad to happen to me, you don't know if you could just suddenly spiral.
No, and you also know, and there are very different circumstances for everyone in terms of suicide and suicidal behaviour and actions, and some are very spontaneous, like you said.
All of a sudden,
bang, and
it can.
And I'm not saying that this is the solution to prevent suicide. I'm saying it's a suicide prevention method.
See, I think, though, it is, if everyone implemented this across the UK and the world, and we were having active listening conversations, and maybe even we had to go to a therapist, or someone in your, we had to go every month.
But a therapist could be a person, it could be an older person in an old people's home who's desperate for someone to talk to and listen to, who sits there doing nothing all day and is bored, rigid, and is lonely, yet they would listen to a 19-year-old.
Honestly,
for free.
When I go and visit my gran and grandma, like they live in this, it's a beautiful place, but a lot of the older generation there are just so lonely. They don't have any visitors. And I've been into many care homes. And I saw this week, actually, a lady from our community does baby classes in the care homes.
In Holland, it's a thing. They give students free accommodation if they live in a community with old people, and they have free accommodation.
It's brilliant.
But they merge the generations.
Because when I go speak to my grandparents, like they give you such wisdom, and I feel like you can have such a deeper, meaningful conversation, and that's what's lacking. I think there's this,
and also because quite often you find they're one step removed from the problem, so they'll actually listen without trying to. They've learned that they mustn't fix everything.
Exactly.
They learn to let you guide yourself out of the problem.
We're big fixers. I have to stop myself fixing. So I'm like, let me fix your life. Oh, I'll fix your life. And actually, I think that was something when I met you, I realised I can't fix this. I've just got to listen. And that's...
Or actually, it's not so much fix.
I'm not jumping even fixing. You're right.
But it's actually allowing the person to fix themselves, and with their techniques, but with your guidance.
So let's go through it then. So I have... So I meet someone in my community, or a child, or whoever, who's comes to me like, I'm having bad thoughts, and I just want to talk to you. How can we best support them then? So
So the first thing I'd say is, as a caveat, I have not done suicide awareness training, which is free. No, but which is free and which anyone can do.
So where are the best channels to go to? Point them to.
So I've got a few.
So we've got Samaritans, of course, the big one that you can just go to.
Well, okay, they're different things. So there are places that you can find active listeners 24 hours a day.
Oh, right. I see what you mean. Active listening.
Those are my examples. There are lots of others. It could be a neighbour. Okay, remember?
But I was thinking more like, let's just talk about in the moment ones. If we were thinking big, like I'm about to do something.
So there are 3 services that I promote. One is Papyrus, which is they offer a 24/7 helpline. That's for if you're 35 and under and you are feeling suicidal. You can call them. Now,
I'd never even heard of them.
Or if you're worried about someone at any age, they will give you advice on how to support them.
That's brilliant.
And that number's 0800 068 41 41. And that's a 24/7 number.
Okay.
They're amazing. Shout is a text service that you can text 85258 and you can have a text conversation with someone.
Good. Yeah, I like that.
They give you a preamble first. That's just normal terms and conditions, but you can just talk. Now, I've used them before, and on one occasion, I was writing to them, thinking someone was there. They weren't yet, but just
doing
putting
it,
my thoughts down helped.
It's like journaling.
It was the pause.
Behind
It gave me the pause that I needed. So the other one is Samaritans, 116123. And I think Samaritans have been around for so long that we sometimes dismiss their value.
Yeah.
They are around and available 24/7, and they will listen.
That's great. And even
And
if
you
someone
don't realise
struggling,
what difference it makes having someone really listening to what the issue is. And if you verbalise the issue is the wrong word.
the feeling.
The feeling and the emotions that you're going through, by verbalising them, you put them into a different part of your brain. And by verbalising them, you're able yourself to look at them in a different context.
To break them down.
Yeah.
This is why I'm so passionate about like the women's circles.
Yes.
Like I have to say, I had one in Chester the other week, and everyone, when I said, has anyone been to do a women's circle? Everyone put the hand up like, I've never been. Never been before. And they looked so scared, like to share. And there were a few people like, no, I don't want to share. But I was like, we had a talking stick.
Yes.
And oh my God, the power after all the responses.
Wow.
Women were like, one woman just started, she was in her 70s.
Yeah.
Pouring tears, just all this stuff came out with her about she'd lost 4 people. And she said, I was just about to pass on the stick. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I said, often it's the hardest thing just to share to someone, a complete stranger.
Yeah.
And then you feel like so much better. She said, I feel this release.
That's why these are so important, because they're strangers.
Yeah, exactly.
You are,
not like a
if
family
you're in a
member,
certain place, you will be scared of revealing your innermost thoughts because you don't want to hurt anyone else. Potentially, you don't want to hurt anyone, or the thoughts you're having are about someone you love.
But that's why it's good to go to, like, say, like when you came to that networking event, it was at like Capeston Hall, wasn't it? You probably didn't really know people.
No.
But like the people that came on their own, hearing your story, they might go, oh, I've been having them feelings. Just putting yourself out of the comfort zone, and then she might have reached another active listener in my community. And that's something I want to start doing, is like buddying people up to talk, because
I find it a lot easier speaking to you than I do, say, to other members of the family, because I know it's going to hurt them.
Yeah. Because it
Them
brings
talking
it all
about
up.
Beck will hurt them.
Of course it will.
Because depending on the mood you're in, it hurts.
And sometimes I feel like I'm very actionable with my mum.
Yeah.
After we lost my mum, I was like, right, we need to get everything in place, a funeral and da-da-da.
Yeah.
But whereas my sister and other people were like, no, I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah,
I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with the legal stuff and this. And it's been really challenging, because I'm like, why do people not see this the way I see it? And I'm sure you've found that. Like everyone handles grief differently, but you have to honour them in a way. And not talk about if they don't want to, and talk to other people as well. And
it's that thing where, Beck's room has everything in it still.
Yeah, how's that then?
At different times, we would have wanted to throw it all away.
It must be so difficult.
But it's there, and it's hard. It's really hard.
When was the point when you felt like you could get out again? Like, was it just literally weeks? And like, I can't imagine that.
Well, you have to.
Means you have to do things, don't you? And work. How did you find that you balance work and things now?
Well, that's the toughest aspect, because we run our own art studio. We're a family business. We are now trying to focus. We need to earn a living.
Of course. And I wanted to say that people don't realise, when you go through such a tragic loss, your whole life gets swept from under you. Like, you don't have the capacity to function, to work. And maybe some people throw themselves into work, but it's all consuming. And I wanted to say, because when you stood up, and I was like, one time when you stood up at our event, I was like, tell them about you, because you are this incredible designer. Like, you do these sculptures, like, what was it, in Copenhagen and all across the world. And I'm like, but you are still you. Your life story now does not define just Beck.
And it's been really hard adapting what we do. We create art. I could see the last sculpture Beck, before he died, was working with me in the studio making a sculpture. So my work in the studio had no meaning. How could every time I'm creating a sculpture, he should be there with me.
But he is in spirit
But
now.
but that I can
you
rationalize
can now,
that.
but at that point you can't.
And there are still times when I have better coping mechanisms, and the joys outweigh the sorrow. Do you know what I mean? In different ways.
It's hard. I get it though, because it's me saying that. And it's annoying in a way though, because I know after.
But you're fixing.
No, but
it's
but when people used to say that to me, like, your mum's still with you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but she's not.
No.
But like, and so I accidentally say that because it's a societal thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I want to help you feel better.
Yes.
Which is loving, but actually I should fix myself there because he's not here, and it's shit.
Yeah.
It is. I miss him, and I don't even know him, and I'm like,
I can no longer hold his hand. I can't.
It's not fair because we need to. But then you are doing such amazing things. You are going to grow this structure into communities which will help save lives. And this is what I want to get across on the conversation today. We all have the power within us to save someone's life if we actively listen. And what I want to get across as well is it doesn't mean you can do this at any point in your day. When you're out the shops, I did it actually. You really inspired me. I was going to get my hair done with Libby in Leek. Yeah. And I thought I'll go get her a coffee on the way. So I nipped into I can't even remember the name of the coffee shop. It used to be an interiors place in Leek.
Yeah.
And I nipped in, and so they were just making it. I thought I'll get her. They had gluten-free cakes, so I was like, I'll get that.
Yes.
And I was just stood there, and I noticed this old woman on her own.
Yeah.
I think she's about 85 or something.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, while I'm waiting, I'll just go speak to her. And I said, hey, how are you today? How are you getting on? And she's like, oh, it's cold, just chatting.
Yeah.
She went, it's actually my birthday today. And honestly,
goodness.
I was so emotional. She was like, a lot of my family's died now.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd pop out for a piece of cake. And then I felt really bad because I was going to be late for my hair appointment. But I was like, I've got to sit down with this lady.
Yes, yeah.
And, we had some cake and we had a coffee. And I thought, if I had not been actively aware, a lot of my time I'm on my phone. I'm thinking about me all the time. I have to be.
Totally.
I'm selfish sometimes. I think we all are at times. We're about, I need to be home for the kids. I need to do this. And I've started to look up more now.
Yeah.
And then it happened another day. The other day, there was a car crash and everyone was driving by.
Yes. Yeah.
And I stopped. And I'm so glad I helped these people.
Yeah.
And we just got to be more active in our communities to help. And
that's where I came up with an acronym for Beck's name.
Okay.
And this is my learning through grief. And the B stands for believe in the. I'm going to read it because
go for it. Yeah.
The B stands for believe in the now. And trust in the future as I take a moment to look at, listen to, laugh with, and love the world around me in the moment. So that's to do with the pausing and taking a breath. Examine my thoughts with compassion and accept the things I can't change while learning how, when, and where to ask for help to change the things I can. And that's the acceptance side of grief about I have to accept that Beck has died. Yeah. It's really hard. And the disbelief and the shock, but
it's still probably still really hard. Is it still now?
Different moments, it's really hard.
Yeah. I still have it with my mum, but it's different when it's your son and child. But
so examine thoughts with compassion, and then convert negative to positive by holding hands with my companions, be they my pen, books, musicians, friends, family, or my wider community. Yeah, and that's not toxic positivity. That is looking for ways that I can choose to survive. Basically.
Because it does help. Do you find it just being around people, being out in your community, even though it feels like, I bet it felt like you never wanted to do that. Yeah. But just making yourself, when you're in that hard position, just go and be with someone. Yeah. Go for a coffee. Yeah. Go.
It can also make me feel worse because because
if it's someone maybe
it's a mixture. It depends.
It must be hard though in your local town. Sometimes you might have to take yourself out of the town. And I wanted to touch on that. Like, do you feel like you wanted to get away from your town at all? Or?
I would say nature always helps.
Okay.
Community is important depending on who you meet. Yeah. And I think, but nature always helps. And getting physically out of one space and into another.
And movement. Movement always helps the body, doesn't it?
But that's at different times.
Yeah.
So, and that's only for me personally. so I can't talk for anyone else.
Yeah.
But the K, and the reason I was reading this.
Sorry, yeah, KK.
But
The best one
the
till
reason I
last.
was reading this was because of what you said in terms of it's kindness is king.
Yeah. I love kindness is everything.
And it's as I embrace the silver threads of joy in life and empower others to do the same. So by you stopping and speaking to the woman and actually taking a moment, you showed an act of kindness, which then allowed her to be open with you. And then that spiraled something out.
Domino effect.
And by you doing that, others in the room will have seen you doing that.
And I felt so good after.
But exactly, so it actually gave you.
But also not just about, it
That's
wasn't
not
about
why
me, but
you did it.
But I felt good all day. I mean,
yes.
yeah, like I felt like, oh, that lovely woman. And
what you don't realise is that people in that cafe who saw you doing it will have also felt that kindness.
Yeah.
So they will have left saying, you'll never guess what I saw happen today.
Yeah.
And so you're doing that will have had this ripple effect of an impact. And it doesn't mean to say that you can do it all the time. You can't do it if you're about to collect your child from school and you're on a school run and you're in a rush. And that's the whole point about you. There are moments when you can enact that skill and moments when you can't. And that is totally normal. And there are times in your life when you can. And there are times in your life when you can't. And that's totally normal. But you just need to look for the skill set of active listening when you need it.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you understand what actively listening is, you'll know when you see it in someone, and you'll know when you need it from someone, and you'll know when you can give it to someone.
And how do we pick the people? So who we go to talk to, just kind of.
Well, you can have a list.
A list. So we need to do a list.
And you can also have...
It's amazing. Oh, here we go. What makes an active listener? I love that. You've got
I've got all that in there. It's funny, isn't it? That you can go around and... I mean,
someone who wants to hear what we have to say. So we just need to find someone who's open.
Yeah, so they have to be interested.
Yeah, they have to be interested. Someone who tries to fully understand us by asking the right questions. So you don't want to just go to someone that's going to end up talking about themselves the whole time. Because that's what we have to be careful with friends sometimes, because they do, when you're with a friend and they're like constantly fighting for conversation, you want to find someone that generally cares.
But you also have to remember that sometimes those people fighting to be heard in that moment need someone to listen.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it?
So they might be different a year later. Yeah. And maybe what you value in them is their positive energy. Because they're young and dynamic and they're full of it. Fun. And that's really good. It's just that they're not the active listener that you might need in some instances.
But it's having a list of people, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's knowing the skill set.
And it's virtually impossible to be an active listener all the time, either to your own thoughts or for others, but even when we're in distress. But I like that idea of, as well, kindness is king, because if you're always open to being kind, I generally think it'll help the person who might be suffering with mental health issues or feeling low. Because honestly, when I did that act of kindness, by being kind to someone, even if it's just a little thing, like opening the door for someone, kindness spreads this power within you. So it's trying not to isolate yourself. I feel like the more you isolate yourself and don't go out in your community, that's when it starts to,
if you go out and do one thing for if you're feeling really low, if you go out and do one thing for someone else,
it'll help you.
Yeah. And if you have that written down as something that you do, then you'll remember to do it. If you don't think about it when you're feeling positive, you won't remember to do it when you're feeling...
And schedule it in, on your calendar. I remember when I was quite lost at 90. I can't remember. It was before uni. I think I had a gap year and I went to work in a charity shop.
Yeah.
And volunteer, sorry.
Yeah.
But I thought, what am I doing this for? But I felt so good by giving and a bit of my time one day a week or something. And I was like, but I would actually say if someone's struggling, just go and do volunteering at an animal shelter because you'll realise, I could do good with this world and then it'll benefit me too.
And it could be as simple as picking up some litter in your street.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be,
Big
if you
things,
can't face people, it doesn't have to be, an act of kindness doesn't have to be, I think someone who you follow does acts of kindness.
Ella Schweiger, she came on the podcast,
Yes.
So she does it little things, she'll just go compliment someone in the street, just say, oh, you look so lovely.
It takes a lot of guts to do that. So that's a very gregarious, outward-facing thing to
But
do. But
once you do it, like,
yes,
because I never would have done that. I'd never have the
Yeah, yeah.
confidence to do that. But now I do it. I find it so easy.
yeah,
So you just have to
yeah.
push your comfort zone slightly.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, a simple thing could be just leaving a little note for someone, or
Well, that's something else I talk about in the book, is about change. It's
being open to change. isn't it?
it's I describe grief as being change, basically.
It's massive. It's
And it's-
everything
but
gets
it's
pulled
a-
from under you,
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah.
yeah.
So
but there's
so
lots of
tell
things
me
that-
about your vision then going forward. Are you going to try and go into, I know you went into like the councils, and you're going to try and get people implementing this more in
It's
their
really hard.
communities?
I have a list of things that my husband and I and the family have a list of things that I want to achieve. We're currently at the place where we need an income.
Yeah, exactly.
So I need to focus back on the business
You
because
do.
I don't want to set up a charity. There are amazing.
There's ones, or it's a lot to set up a charity. Like, I was going to set one up for my mum, and
Yeah.
you don't realise the paperwork, the legislations, all the things.
Yeah, and
if there's
it's-
already some doing it, you could just support them.
There are amazing groups and organisations like Shout and like
Yeah.
Papyrus and the Zero Suicide Alliance. They offer free training courses. You know, all these different organisations. They're amazing. Now, I want to raise awareness, and I'll do as much as I can. And we have the football match, like you said.
Oh, I
and
love
active
that.
listening.
Let me
and
get involved this year in the football match. I'd
brilliant,
love to help.
brilliant. And we're doing things
You're
like.
doing enough, and that's what you've got to
And
know.
I've written the book, and I want to
Frances,
publish the next one.
you're
and
enough.
it's
Exactly, as
but
you
it's
are.
really hard at the moment. I'm trying to balance that with finding the joy in life and finding purpose in doing the things that I love. Creating art and creativity is a
And
is
it's
a
letting
good,
that guilt, any guilt
It's
go.
the guilt side.
It's working on that, because you are enough exactly as you are.
Yeah.
You're doing enough. You're raising awareness. You're spreading Beck's light.
But also,
let me tell you, you are. I know you have all this vision, but also let people support you. So like communities like mine.
But that's what I think is lovely. And I would rather communicate the skill of active listening and the passion to create your own personal safety plan, and then empower people to, if anyone listening to this podcast can print out a safety plan, read what I've got to say, make your own judgment. If you agree, then tell 5 people.
Yeah, that's all
That's
we need
it.
to do. We need to bring in a chain of events. I'll share it on the
Yeah.
WhatsApp group
Yeah,
later
yeah,
and things,
yeah.
and just get the message out. And I feel like, I mean, did you see that Spencer Matthews did that
Yes,
7
yes.
triathlons?
Yes, yeah, and he does incredible awareness
that
building.
in itself. So if you are like an influencer, or all of us really, even if you have a small following, like
Yeah.
a few hundred, you all have those people looking at you, and
Yeah.
you can be an active listener and powerful source for this community to share this message.
Yeah.
To think, like, I feel like I get most driven if I do a challenge. So
Yeah.
you could do like the 3-peak challenge, or do a
Yeah.
marathon, and you could do it in honor of Beck, or honor of a charity, and raise awareness. That is all we need to do as well, because
Yeah.
getting more
It's not
people
being scared.
to
It's
speak
not being
about it.
scared of creating a community safety plan for yourself for the future.
All of us need to do it,
and that's it.
and teach our children as well,
Yeah.
and like talk about mental health more openly. And I'm so glad you could come on and speak about this. Like, honestly, Beck is such an inspiration, and I can't imagine what your family's been through, but I know that he is so proud of you. Like, just how you've stayed strong together, and I'm just so grateful that you came into my life, because you and Beck.
That Beck's come into your life.
Yeah, Beck
There
has
you
come
go.
into my
There
life.
you
He
go.
has, and he's. I can't tell you the effect that he's had on me. I talk to my kids about him, and like, I've never even met him, but in a way, he has spread a light, and these. But then I wish he was still here, of course.
I think it's just horrific that he can't
meet me.
You can't meet him.
I wish I could,
Yeah.
and I want to help prevent this ever happening with all the people in our society. And we all have a choice to make now, to raise awareness, to make yourself a safety plan, and do this for yourself, because there will reach a time in your life when you feel low and you feel depressed, and it can happen to all of us. So we need to make a plan. And Frances, you are just inspiring us. So thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me here. It's like, and letting me share Beck's story.